Everybody, this is James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
And this is the Movie Pals podcast number 196. Today, we're continuing our voyage into Star Trek with a review of Star Trek Into Darkness, followed by a review of the new A24 film, Warfare. But before that, let's jump into one last Oscar bowling review. As you guys can probably tell, Marco has returned after kind of a long hiatus, actually. That wasn't a brief one.
Yes.
We missed a bit.
Indeed.
But Marco's back. We lost him right after the Oscars, pretty much, so you got to miss all the other reviews, but I'm assuming he listened to the episodes, of course, because we put a lot of time and effort in those.
Of course.
It'd be terrible if he didn't. But anyways, so now we're to Marco. We did a review, or I assigned to Marco a review because of Oscar bowling. So the movie that I had Marco do a mini review on is the movie Waves.
I'm trying to give you the tools to succeed in this world. It's not easy out there. Everything I do is for y'all. Everything.
I know you're under a lot of pressure right now, but I'm just getting really scared.
You'll have this place to call home.
Everything's gonna be okay, all right?
Always.
We're in this together.
So Waves is sitting at 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. The epic emotional journey of a suburban African-American family as they navigate love, forgiveness, and coming together in the wake of a tragic loss. Directed and written by Trey Edward Schultz, who also did Krisha in 2015, and a film that we actually did back in the day, It Comes at Night, in 2017, which was a...
Oldie but goodie.
I want to say that wasn't even one that we recorded. That was a test one we did.
I think so, yeah.
I think it was another one, yeah.
It was one of our test ones that we were like, hey, let's figure this out. This was released on November 15, 2019, with a budget of $6 million. It actually only made $2.6 million, so it was a box office disaster. This stars Kelvin Harrison Jr. as Tyler Williams, Taylor Russell as Emily Williams, Sterling K. Brown as Ronald Williams, Lucas Hedges as Luke, Renee Ells Goldsberry as Catherine Williams, Alexa Demi as Alexis Lopez, and Clifton Collins Jr. as Bobby Lopez. Gotta ask you first, Marco, do you have any history with the movie Waves?
None at all, man. I think the closest to history was you mentioning it to me once, I believe.
Yeah, I did.
And that's about it.
Nobody takes my movie recommendations, right? You know, it's fine. Not a big deal.
I remember it being one that I was like,
oh, watch 25 fucking Oscar movies, and then eventually I can assign you movies that I've wanted you guys to watch just because I'm like, I don't know.
I know, right? No, I know that it was on my radar. Never made it until now.
And I just didn't care. So I get it. Yeah, that's cool. What did you think about Waves?
You know, truthfully, I actually thought the movie was good. I thought it was good. I don't think it was great, but I think it was actually pretty good. The story was pretty interesting. It's like just a slice of life of these people's lives type of story. I think that it was good.
Okay. What did you think about the story then overall?
I thought that it was told pretty interesting because we at first follow the perspective of the son and him being, you know, this athlete going to school. He's a wrestler. He is, you know, being pushed by his dad to always do his best. And then we discover that he's like nursing a type of shoulder injury that is kind of affecting his performance with his wrestling, but he doesn't want to let his dad down. And then tragic strikes, and then it goes into the perspective of his sister, which I thought was pretty interesting. Not many movies do that where they swap main characters like that, just like right in the middle of the story. It worked for me, but I also thought it was a bit strange. Still, though, I think it was necessary in order to see how all these events affect the family as a whole and getting at least two different perspectives out of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it is interesting how they show how even the perspective of how the film is filmed actually changes and grows as it's supposed to be something like there's like hope and despair in the beginning, and then it's like, oh, it goes down a really dark path, and then by the sister story it starts like rising back up, kind of an action, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. What about the acting? Anybody stand out for you?
Kelvin Harrison Jr. did pretty good. I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but he did pretty good with I think he did pretty good with what he had. I think Taylor Russell also did great as Emily, especially when the story picks up from her perspective. At first, she's sort of just like a background character, but it was nice to see that she could also carry this movie as well, which I could assume was also like a daunting task because, you know, you pick your main characters, you have your main person that carries the storyline, and then you have your support. Well, here we have a type of supporting character in Emily, who then takes on the reins as the main character, and I think she did pretty well as well too. Sterling K. Brown also, I mean, he's a really good actor. Truthfully, like I think he's super underrated. I think that he's one of the most talented actors out there. That just he gets these indie movies that he performs in well, but when it comes to like big blockbusters, like they just don't pick the right movie for him. Like I know he was in like one of the Predator movies, and
he was,
yeah, his role was pretty good, but the movie was shit. And it's like it was nice to see him, in a strong performance in a really good movie, albeit it didn't do well in the box office, but performance wise, I think it did really good. I think really only like I think the mom or stepmom rather was really the only character that really wasn't developed, was kind of put in the background. That's it.
What did you think about the overall look, though?
I think they look good, dude. Truthfully, for a movie this, I mean, it's not that old and it's in the modern era, but still, I think it was filmed really well. I liked the way the camera moves inside the car. That was actually pretty cool with the music playing and everything. It feels natural. It immerses you into the movie. You feel like you're in there with the characters. And I think that helps you connect with them as well, too, and really feel for them when shit goes down.
Nice. Thoughts on anything else before we kind of jump into your overall rating?
The big event, which is when Tyler has the altercation with his ex-girlfriend, and I can spoil it, right?
Yeah, you can spoil it. It's fine.
Okay,
if you don't want to, I
and
would say if you don't want to know if this is interesting you, I would skip ahead about.
Yeah, skip ahead if you don't want to. Yeah, skip ahead like 5 minutes if you don't want to hear this. But
Mikey's like, I can't skip ahead. I have to listen.
I gotta skip. I'm gonna be out for a little bit. I'll be right back.
he ends up killing her. He doesn't do it on purpose, but he's on drugs. He's emotionally distraught. He's going through it, and he won't seek help. And it ends in a tragic event, and he's like escaping. Like you really feel that too. You're like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen? Because you don't think the movie's going there. You think it'll go far. Like you think he'll do something bad to her, but you don't think it'll be like that extreme. And I think that was handled pretty well. And I think the build up and the lead up to that, I think, was handled well.
Before we do get into it, why do you think I picked this film for you?
Oh, I know exactly why you picked it for me.
What is that?
Because I had shoulder surgery, and this had to do with the shoulder injury.
No, not at all.
I know, I was just playing. But I thought it was funny that his shoulder was bothering him, and his was far worse than mine. I was like, damn, dude. Like,
yeah, his is getting pretty.
Yeah, I was like,
intense, and it's like, yo, that's pretty bad. Like,
yeah, it's like you have no rotator cuff. Mine was just torn. You just have none anymore. You should probably get that fixed. No, as a joke, I thought you picked it because of that. And then my secondary reason was because it's a movie that you had recommended to me a while ago, and I still haven't seen it to this day.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. We didn't talk about it, but I really like the soundtrack to this movie. And Frank Ocean he's a big artist that I really like, and he had a big hand in selecting a lot of the music for this movie. That's just one of the things. I think the music and the visuals in this movie are really work really well. There's a lot of good scenes.
They are. Like I said, the car scene is one of them when Tyler.
It's very natural.
And yeah, when Tyler and his girlfriend Alexis, played by Alexa Demi, who also did really good, by the way. I didn't really mention her, but with her small role, she did really good. I only know her outside of this from Euphoria. She's in that show on HBO as well. But the scenes when they're in the ocean and the music's playing, that's really good. And you feel that too, especially when he's like remembering that too, and he's like in his jail cell remembering everything. Like it's freaking saddening, and the music really helps bring that out. So yeah, I agree there.
It's one of those movies that I liked a lot. It's just the time and place when I had seen it too. Kind of just the vibes in this movie. There's some pretty good vibes, and again, it is a pretty downer of a film overall. It somewhat kind of has a bit of like a decent ending to the end, or it's like, oh, there's like hope and stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
It's very somewhat similar to the film that I gave Mikey in a way, where it deals with loss and how people deal with like overall, not just that, but this one's more like just life in general. And I mean, this one's more like the loss of innocence, and like, especially with Tyler, like his life's over, and it's really kind of devastating. So
like, I'll tell you what, I saw the movie a week ago and it's still kind of stuck with me. It's one of those movies that kind of does like, stick with you and make you think. if you appreciate what it's worth. And
Yeah, and I agree with you. Sterling K. Brown his performance in this, it's really good. It's one of those movies where he's playing this father that's really kind of doing too much, honestly, but not doing enough emotionally with his children, and he's missing out. And there are some really like hard scenes to watch with him.
Yeah, some of the stuff he said to his son, when he was in a weak spot, is kind of reminiscent of what the stuff you told me when I was recovering from my shoulder. So I felt that. I'm just kidding. James was really supportive, but I said I'd say that joke on the pod, and it stuck with me, so I had to say it.
Yeah, that's fine. What did you give it overall then?
I give it 3.5 stars. I think it's worth a watch. Again, it's good. It's not great. It is a bit of a downer. The duality of the narrative, where you go from Tyler to Emily, I think it might be a bit jarring for some people, and they might not understand, why the director does that.
It's definitely an indie film. But.
Yeah, and I think, although I liked it, for me, I think for some or general audiences that might hinder it a little bit, because here you're fully invested in Tyler, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's Emily, which she did great, but for people who are used to just your traditional narrative, that might throw them off a little bit. So. Still a really good movie. I think it's rewatchable, though. I don't think I'll rewatch it for a while, because like James said, it is kind of a downer.
Yeah, just like I said, Mikey saw Ordinary People, and that's one of the two where it's like, this is kind of a downer,
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a good like sad film, just where it's like, okay, different perspective, and like I said, it's beautifully shot. So cool. Let's move on now into our special segment, Voyage into Star Trek. So, if you guys didn't know, you should by now, because we only have like 2 movies past after this left to do. But we are reviewing all these Star Trek motion picture films. We have now made it to the second film in the Kelvin timeline, Into Darkness. Before every film as well, we give some behind-the-scenes facts, just to kind of give you a little info of the background, production, characters, world building, performance, etc. So let's get into it. Production and thematic depth. Into Darkness was wrapped in major secrecy. Actors had to read the script in locked rooms. The film's themes reflect post 9/11 anxieties, with Starfleet going full military industrial complex under Admiral Marcus. It flips Wrath of Khan on its head by killing Kirk instead of Spock and giving Spock the iconic Khan scream. Design,
casting, and government paranoia vibes. This one went big with visuals, shot in IMAX and featuring a real fusion lab in Livermore as the Warp Core. Originally, Benicio del Toro was cast as Khan, but he bailed. Enter Cumberbatch, which was changed the character's vibe entirely. Admiral Marcus embodies classic rogue government paranoia, lying to the crew, starting a war, and building a secret warship. If you're into distrust of power, this one's got it baked in.
Visuals, world building, and action. Practical sets made a comeback after fans roasted the brewery-style engine room in the last movie. The redesign looks sleeker and more Trek. And the revamped Klingons got armor straight out of Ralph McQuarrie's unused 80s sketches. Action was cranked to 11. Zero gravity jumps, ship crashes, brutal fights. This one was clearly trying to compete with other summer blockbusters. Whether that energy works for Trek is still up for debate.
Visual character, performance, and fan response. Cumberbatch's role was kept secret with the fake name John Harrison, but the Khan twist leaked early. Fans weren't thrilled about the bait and switch. Alice Eve's Carol, Marcus, is a nod to the original timeline, though her role felt underused. Despite box office success, the film was voted least favorite Trek movie at a 2016 FanCon. The backlash was so strong, the writer Roberto Orci was pulled from directing the sequel, and hasn't touched any Star Trek since.
Oh yeah, because he's dead too. So
yeah, I mean, he passed away. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, some of these facts are a little outdated. Whoopsies.
All right, Star Trek Into Darkness in 2013.
Darkness is coming.
This could just be the beginning.
Beginning of what?
All-out war. I request permission to go after him.
I cannot allow you to do this.
Jim, you're not actually going after this guy, are you? Let's go get this son of a bitch.
It is sitting right now at an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the synopsis is, when Starfleet is attacked from within, Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise set out on a mission to capture a mysterious terrorist known as John Harrison. As the pursuit takes them deep into enemy space, they uncover a dangerous conspiracy and a familiar name with a dark legacy. Loyalties are tested, and the line between hero and villain begins to blur. This one was directed by J.J. Abrams, who also did Mission Impossible 3, Super 8, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and it was written by Roberto Orci, who did The Island, Legend of Zorro, Transformers, and Cowboys and Aliens. Alex Kurtzman, who did People Like Us, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and The Mummy. And Damon Lindelof, who did Cowboys and Aliens, Prometheus, and World War Z. This one, like all the other ones, is based on the television series Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry and released on May 15th of 2013 on a budget of $190 million. This one was a box office success at $467.4 million. And returning, for most of these people are returning at least, this is all starring Chris Pine as James T. Kirk, Zachary Quinto as Spock, Carl Urban as Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy, Zoe Saldana as Nyota Uhura, Simon Pegg as Montgomery Scotty Scott, John Cho as Hikaru Sulu, Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan Noonien Singh, or Commander John Harrison, Anton Yelchin as Pavel Chekhov, Bruce Greenwood as Christopher Pike, Peter Weller as Admiral Alexander Marcus, and Alice Eve as Dr. Carol Marcus. So to start things off, let's go around the room and just see what your guys' history is with the film. We'll start with Bill. What's your history with Into Darkness?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theaters with James and the boys.
Yeah,
So.
I'm almost 100% sure we saw this in the theater together.
Yeah, we this film definitely saw in IMAX at the time at the biggest screen we could find. I've watched this quite a few times since when it came out on Blu-ray. I had the collection, and obviously now I got the 4K. Watched it on that version now. Of the recent ones, this was definitely one that amped up the spectacle of the new Star Wars films for me. So it was a good thing to watch in the theaters when it came out.
Star Trek, you mean?
Star Trek. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. Star Trek. Sorry, guys. Don't come at me. I meant Star Trek.
Now John's really going to get mad.
Nabel. All right. James, what about you? What's your history?
Well, as you guys heard, I saw it with the so that's my history. I saw it in theaters. I've seen this one a few times too. I owned it on Blu-ray or 3D Blu-ray or something like that too. But yeah, I remember this one. This was like, it was weird because it took like 4 years for this movie to come out. I remember there's a bit of a gap between the two. And I really liked that first one, so I was really hyped to see this one when it first was announced. And I remember this is one of those movies that had a trailer for like a year before it came out. So, but yeah, this is my second Star Trek film I saw in theaters.
Ooh, a trend? Question mark?
Spoiler alert, I saw 3 of them in there. I wonder what the next one is.
Marco, what about you?
Well, this was like my 9th Star Trek movie I've seen in theaters because, I saw all the originals. I'm just kidding. This was like my 4th or 5th I saw in theaters since Undiscovered Country. I liked this movie when it first came out too, and I can't remember if I saw it with these guys. I probably did because I saw it numerous times in theaters. I was a huge fan of the first two
feel like
movies.
you might have,
yeah, I was a huge fan of these
2013, yeah, probably.
Those are all of our Sears days, right? So we all knew each other at that time.
That's past Sears days.
Past Sears.
Yeah, a little past Sears. Yeah,
is it?
I think I was at Barnes and Noble around that time.
Yeah, I graduated college in 2012.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, kind of like what James said, I know there was a lot of hype for this one and a lot of speculation as to who Benedict Cumberbatch was playing and all that noise.
But I remember even when the time came, everybody kind of already knew.
Yeah. It was out there pretty early.
Because that did get leaked, like the behind the scenes info we had. I remember that dropping, and everyone's like, "No, that can't be it." And then even on the red carpet, I remember Benedict Cumberbatch was like denying it. Remember?
Yep.
He's like, "Nope."
The biggest twist didn't bother me.
I'm Commander Harrison. I don't know what you're talking about.
I play a different character.
Yeah, mine's pretty much the same as you guys. I definitely saw it in theaters. I don't remember if it was with you guys or not. It's too long ago for me to know that stuff here, but I definitely saw it in theaters. I've seen it a few times after that. My dad didn't go to watch this in the theater with me, so I know I've at least seen it one more time after that with him when it came out on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it did at that time. So seen it a few times, enjoyed it, was hyped for it when it came out. So just brief thoughts before we get into the plot and characters. How'd you guys like the film? And we'll start with Marco.
I thought it was pretty good, man. This time around, I didn't think it was as good as I was when I originally saw it in theaters, but it was still pretty entertaining. I think the comment mentioning that this took the action to 11 was correct. It definitely up the stakes a bit more than the previous movie, which I thought was pretty cool. Visual effects, of course, look great. But overall, you know what? I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Nabil, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, definitely enjoy the film. I will say one of the things that I recalled liking a lot and still liked it now watching it on 4K was the colors that popped out, especially at the beginning of the film. That opening scene, just you could see the IMAX use, all the different colors that they have, the characters that they had over there, and like every shot that was an IMAX.
Did you guys all watch it on disc or no?
I did, but I don't know if everybody
Yeah,
else.
I did.
Yeah.
Marco, no.
No, I saw it on
Did
streaming.
your aspect ratios change, Marco? I don't think they do on the stream copy.
I don't think they did, no.
In the disc version, you actually
Yes,
get
it
the
does.
IMAX version. It's pretty awesome, dude.
It's pretty cool to see it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very noticeable, those scenes.
Yeah.
And so I remember that was like the takeaway I got when watching it in the theaters when we went to go see it in IMAX was like, when you saw the IMAX scenes, like, this was worth it. kind of
This is
thing.
back in the day when they didn't film everything in IMAX. Like, only some of the scenes, like, this is the IMAX scene. Look how big the ratio changed.
The Dark Knight
when
trilogy
Dark Knight
days
started
when-
doing that stuff. Yeah. So that's what I really remember watching it, and watching it now again and being able to see that really kind of reinvigorated that thing. Is like, wow, he really spent, J.J. Abrams spent some time getting a certain look down and putting that throughout those scenes when he was doing those IMAX shots, especially. So I like that a lot. Yeah.
James, how did you like this one?
I really liked it, man. I know. I just like that Kelvin timeline, I guess, man. It's a shame. We should have had 9 movies by now. What happened, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it's really the characters that worked out really well. I liked the bad guy in this one. It worked for me. Overall, the storyline, I thought it was really cool seeing Peter Weller in his role too.
Yeah, I really like this one as well. To kind of jump on with James here, I thought it was really like a continuation of the first one. It kind of just moved those characters, the ones you kind of build on, and they did their own thing, but they also kind of told an older story that we're semi-familiar with already, especially if we just watch it like we did. So I like what they did with this one. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's like JJ was like, I think I might use that idea for something else.
What else could adopt these things that are in space?
It's like a reboot of something, but it still sticks and it's its own path, kind of.
So let's talk a little bit more about the plot. We kind of talked a little bit about it. It's kind of a reimagining, like a more action-heavy reimagining of the original Khan story, and it has its own elements as well, kind of mixed in there as well.
Yeah.
But do you guys have any thoughts about the plot or any of the similarities between the other ones or the non-similarities to the other one? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I want to add in regards to the utilization of Khan here. In The Wrath of Khan, in the original one, we knew that he was superior, he was stronger and such, but we didn't really get to see a lot of him from an action perspective. It was more strategy.
Because he was just by a 56-year-old man.
That
pretty much.
might be part of the reason there, James. Yes.
Honestly, I was missing the vest with the shirt, just the skin
Would've
showing.
been
I was
nice,
hoping Benedict Cumberbatch was just gonna be like,
with the fake chest.
yeah,
The obvious fake chest.
he's like, "What's up, man?"
Just abs.
The tan.
Mhm.
Oh wow,
He's like,
He
oh,
sees
there's
a
the
lot of
Indian.
sun.
I see that. Yeah.
he sees a lot of sun there.
But now, showing it in this film, they still show that kind of strategic mindset of he's smarter than everyone in the room. He's got a long-term plan. But also, I love that they showed his strength. Like, there's a scene where Kirk is trying to pummel his face in and tires himself out trying to beat him while Khan is not even at all
Wait, what
phased.
about where he just takes out like
The
45
whole Klingon
Klingons?
battalion? Yeah,
Yeah.
like just like nothing.
It's like a rocket launcher one arm. I was like, dang, okay, I get it. You're
So-
a badass. Jeez.
Definitely emphasized how much more powerful Khan is compared to
Which
just anybody
makes
else
sense in the bill, because like I'm glad they showed that too. I totally agree with you on that, because him and his crew supposedly like held the entire planet for ransom. Like they were
They're,
so
they're
close.
like superhumans, right?
Yeah, they were in the original context. They were so close to literally taking over the world, which is why they outlawed superhumans and genetic engineering.
Any other thoughts or anything on the plot?
I thought it was cool. And then Peter Weller, it's funny. I was watching with my mom, and she's like, "I bet he's the bad guy." Like 5 minutes in, I was like, "This."
I mean, he
I'm
kind of just
RoboCop.
looks like one, right? Yeah.
He's RoboCop though. Dead or alive, you're
Dead
coming
or
with-
alive, you're coming with me.
I was like, I don't know. He might be good. And then I was like, oh no, he's got too much of the tropes of like, oh man, you're either with me or against me. Ah. And I was like, okay, all right, I get it.
Well, for me, I did like some of the connection they had with Kirk and Pike. Some of the scenes were super emotional.
Oh
And
God,
there-
the scene where Pike dies, I was like, man, I was getting a little teary-eyed. I ain't gonna lie.
It happened sooner than I remember too. I was like, oh yeah, that's
Boy,
right,
this
that's
is the
really
same movie, bro. I
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, oh, there it is.
was like, wait, I thought he died at the end.
I really like how it showed the escalation as far as like the militarization that Starfleet was taking, because it, in a way, it kind of meta explains why like these movies are way more like action packed and stuff, because like
Yeah.
the history is totally different in this movie. They're all reacting to the event that happened in the first movie with
From
Nero
Vulcan
coming in.
blowing
Yeah,
up, right?
realizing that they were underpowered, undergunned, like they could not stop a threat like that, and so they hyper react to that, and that's why like these movies are way more action packed. They're way more shoot first, ask questions later, and shit. And I kind of like that the plot kind of explained that, and the extremities that some people within Starfleet would go for that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
He's like, they're gonna make Starkiller Base. Wait a minute.
It's in the form of a ship.
Is this where they also they mentioned for the first time Section 31 in this one, right? This is the first mention of that, or did they mention it in the series and I just don't remember that?
They mention it in the series. This is the first time they mention it for the Kelvin timeline.
Okay, all right.
I have no idea what that is.
They're
Section
like
31
the-
is like the
Yeah.
the hidden science research facility or group that they use. They do all
They're
kinds
like
of
the
stuff.
CIA.
That's their
for
black side.
Starfleet.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad. Okay.
No, basically, yeah, Black Ops.
Well, let's move into some of the characters here. Do you guys have any thoughts on? We'll go with the main characters first here. Kirk or Spock, anything like that? We'll leave it open to everybody.
It's kind of cool that you once again they had that dynamic where they started as friends and then he feels betrayed by him and they kind of realize by the end that they have a true bromance for each other. That was really nice. That was a really touching scene at the end. I like that one a lot, actually. That one also I was a little teary-eyed. I was like, my God, what's going on? I like how they flipped it from I forgot about that part, honestly. And then he says,
Dude, watch
the
the
reason
same
why I
film,
came
James.
back is because you're my friend. And I was like, oh, my heart. But it was cool seeing them evolve and they're changing. And Picard gets his ass kicked less in this movie compared to the first one.
Kirk, yeah.
Kirk.
Oh, Kirk, sorry. Not Picard. My God.
Well, and-
My God. I wrote Picard on it. My God.
I do remember having a problem originally watching it where essentially the way that Kirk comes back is because of Khan's blood, and I'm like, that seems like a bit of a stretch because he was like essentially brain dead. I know they put him in the cryotube or whatever, but I'm like,
You're not from that
seems-
time period, Bill. You don't
yeah,
know.
I guess I don't understand it, but I
They're
remember
way
at
more
the first
advanced
time I
now.
watched it. It was like a hang up for me. I was like, I don't know. That seems like a bit of a stretch. But I will say to what you were saying about Kirk's character, especially, I loved how they kind of continued on the thread of him still being kind of like egotistic and cocky and having
Bit
to
of
get
a
knocked down. They like knocked him down a peg with Commander or Admiral Pike, but then the whole sense of like having to make a sacrifice because he felt like, well, I can never lose. I've got luck on my side. Like I'm always doing the right thing.
It's like, all right,
And-
Han Solo, relax.
Yeah. Always going rogue, and here it is where he had to make an ultimate sacrifice and he was facing a scene where nothing was going to work out for him. Like this is it. There was no more. This is the unwinnable situation.
The
And,
Kobayashi Maru. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it happened in real life for him, and he had to sacrifice. So
It did.
I
Yep.
that was a good way for him to grow his character. Definitely to get that out of him, make him a better captain. They did good with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think their chemistry improved in this film from the previous one, and
Yep.
with still the ability for more growth, as you see, like their trust is tested in this, and in a way their friendship, and then they come back a lot stronger in the end. So I like that it did that.
And they kind of play on the whole Kirk and Spock thing is like Kirk plays from the gut and Spock plays from his brain. And it's kind of like the duo of
Cool.
them kind of can go through and they can do anything together, right? So something like that. But
Kirk acts
Dream
more
team,
emotionally.
baby. Dream
Yeah.
team.
And they kind of flip on that when Kirk dies and Spock becomes again emotional and starts acting out of
I
out
can only
of
imagine
emotion.
some really like hardcore Star Trek fans probably hated that.
I feel like that's
Mm.
probably true.
Kind of, but I mean, not really, because it's kind of in Spock's past, because he's only half Vulcan, so he's got his human side to him, and he's still like part of what makes him unique is he delves into that human side of him. So I was like, I guess that makes sense.
Well, this film had a lot of fan backlash, though. I mean, even we talk about it.
This was the
playing
start of
in the
it.
background of
With
it.
this,
Yeah.
this was the start of it.
Which I was always finding surprising because I like the take on the this whole relationship, like the change up and how great these characters, like James was saying earlier, like the character dynamic and everything they had early on. Like, I feel like that's unjustified, the hate on this film from a fan perspective, not from a critic.
I mean, I could see like it's some of them. Some people are so locked into like longer, like more scientific kind of things, more of a Star Trek kind of feel, like the Discovery. Star Trek's not supposed to be all this explosions and.
But that's what the series is for. Like give me something entertaining in the movies and let's watch a series.
No, I agree, man. No, this one has something that the other ones definitely don't have. It's just not boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with both of you, James. That's exactly the criticism.
All the nerds, hold on, there should be a discussion. Why aren't they discussing this? Why don't we wait, excuse me? They should be discovering things.
Exactly.
Relax,
but that was the main complaints that I heard too, is just that they weren't exploring. It was just like very warlike and stuff. But I mean, they make a point to mention it in the movies too. They're like, hey, even Scotty mentions it, like, we're supposed to be explorers. What's going on? But there's a reason for it, because of like what they freaking went through with the Romulans, and then like them getting caught with their pants down and stuff. So it's kind of like,
it's been a few years though from this movie, from the first one. So they have been doing a mission, right?
Yeah. But I think I agree also, like when Nabil said, is like, do the exploration missions and the TV shows and then let it culminate to like a big event in the movie where there's a lot of action. It's like, it makes sense. It's like they're not, even in the TV show, it happens when they're exploring. Sometimes they run into stuff. It's like, you can't talk your way out of this. They're not going to stop.
Obviously it's not as intense as this film, because this movie gets pretty, I have to say, like the action scenes in this movie are amazing. Like it looks really good. There are really cool scenes. I liked a lot of this, like especially for us, we got to see a lot of the action scenes are in full IMAX. It is like, oh my god, this is amazing. The sound mix on this was really good too. So
yeah, agreed.
Well, coming from a just a super fan kind of perspective, like my dad, like literally watches the original series like just once after another. Like he'll watch the whole thing and then start it over again. And I asked him to watch this one with me when I was putting it on, and he's like, no, I got stuff to do. And he just walked away. So he's not exactly a big fan of this particular one as well, just coming from that. He likes that old school style way more than he likes this one here. So we also talked a lot about the look of the film, but just to kind of touch on it, does anybody have anything extra? I know we talked about the IMAX films, we talked about the colors and the sound. So that's pretty covered as well. Does anybody have anything extra for that?
There's less lens flare. It's still there.
Yeah, they definitely, I noticed a lot less.
Yeah, turned it down a bit.
But yeah,
there's a few scenes. It's like, oh, there it is. There you are, JJ.
We actually already talked about the action as well. So how about the pacing? Does anybody have anything to do with the pacing of this movie?
It's a good pacing again too. I like from the get go. It's even got a bit of like a espionage kind of feel to it, where
at the beginning,
Khan makes a deal with like this guy that's daughter's like sick, and then it's a terrorist act, but it's all part of a plan. And I really liked how that kind of all came together, and especially even like the ship that Admiral Mark is in is awesome. I thought it was a really good design. It's like a huge battleship.
Big boy. Yeah.
It's black to signify that it's evil. So
well, I like this movie was super action packed, almost from beginning to end. But I liked how there were some down points, but those down points are like super either super emotional or something tense is happening, but it's not super actiony. So they kept everything kind of moving. I agree. So good pacing overall. Well, let's get to our ratings then. So what is your rating, and would you recommend this? And we'll start with Nabil.
Yeah, I gave this 4 stars out of 5, and I would totally recommend this. I think this is a great entry into this new Calvin timeline for Star Trek.
Okay, Marco?
I give it 3.5 stars. And yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's a pretty cool interpretation of Star Trek. It's not perfect, but still I think it's entertaining.
And James?
I also gave it 4 stars. I really like this one. I think it's a good continuation from the first one, which I loved. So, it's just a mystery why there's not more of these movies.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I gave this one 4 stars as well. Loved it. That was really good. Don't understand how they stopped making these. So we'll see the third one. Maybe the third one destroys it, but I actually don't remember the third one that much. So
only seen it once.
Yeah.
Same.
So hopefully it continues on to this good trend, but we shall find out.
Sounds good. Let's get on now to our main review of Warfare.
Redman 08 is profane. We're seeing activity converging to your north and south.
This is Frogman 6 Romeo. We need evac at our last known position. We have severely wounded. Who's severely wounded? It's not you. It's me. Who is it? No, it's not you. No, is it?
Warfare, currently sitting at a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. The story goes, a platoon of Navy SEALs embark on a dangerous mission in Ramadi, Iraq, with the chaos and brotherhood of war retold through their memories of the event. This was directed and written by Alex Garland, who did Civil War, Men, and Annihilation, along with Ray Mendoza. This film was released on April 11th with a budget of $20 million. This has a wide starring cast, starting with Defarrell Woon Atai playing Ray Mendoza, Will Poulter plays Eric, Cosmo Jarvis is Elliot Miller, Joseph Quinn plays Sam, Kit Connor is Tommy, Finn Bennett is John, Taylor John Smith is Frank, Michael Gandolfini plays Lieutenant McDonald, Noah Centineo plays Brian, aka Zowie, and Charles Melton plays Jake. So let's just jump a little bit into what we thought about this film before we go into the plot itself. I'm going to start with you, James. What were your thoughts on the film?
I really like this movie a lot. I saw this with Mikey. We actually went and saw it in real IMAX because it wasn't playing anywhere around here. I know, real IMAX. What do you know, right, boys? As opposed to fake IMAX. It's the real
full
place.
screen.
So giant screen, sound, everything, and I liked it overall. It's a very kind of simplistic story, but it's very raw. It's very horrifying what happens. It's really, I think, you know, I talked about it last year that Alex Garland kind of lost me at his last few films.
Yeah.
But man, lately he's just been kind of bringing me back, man. Just kind of just big kiss, little kiss, as Marco says, you know, just I feel like I betrayed him for a while, but then like I loved Civil War, as you guys all know. I think we
watched that all.
talked about that last year.
It's one of my movies of the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this just continued that trend. I loved how gritty it was. I loved that it doesn't overstay its welcome. It really stuck with me. And I think it was like an experience watching it, especially. And then I there's times where there's an explosion that happened where I literally almost jumped out of my fucking seat, man. And Mikey will tell you, even him, it was like, oh my God, dude. So it was, yeah.
Well, let's get your take a little bit on that, Mikey. So what were your thoughts on the film?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo what James said. I mean, it really is an experience. I mean, you get to see like about an hour and a half of these people's lives, and it's in real time, and everything is just hitting you, and it's nonstop. Once it starts picking up and stuff's starting to happen, like you really don't get time to kind of rest, and it kind of just shows like how military, like they have to have that mindset, and they always have to be on, even when things are affecting them. And I think the cast did a great job of like showing that. You know, I mean, there's people that are injured and things are going on. There's explosions going on everywhere, and people are literally like destroyed in their head. And they're still kind of pushing through some of the stuff that's happening. I thought it was really touching on some of those things. And I really enjoyed it. And the sound of, obviously we're in a different IMAX than normal. I loved what he did in Civil War in the action scenes that he did. And he just kind of takes that and puts it over here. There's like almost no music in this whole movie. Other than like the very first scene and like maybe the credits or something, but it's all just gunshots and explosions and some talking, and it's just it's really powerful.
Yeah. So. How about you, Marco?
I thought it was pretty interesting, man. I thought, like these guys said, it was an experience for sure. Like I think it shows truly the ugliness of war. You know, on all aspects. You know, everything from, you know, the explosions, the gunfire, to having to take over a random family's household, you know, and them being scared shitless as to what the fuck is going on. Like, I can't imagine someone just busting into my place right now and just saying, hey, this is my base of operations now. Like, you know, meanwhile, there's people trying to shoot inside my house and shit, you know, and it's like, it really made you immersed into this situation. James talks about like the explosion that freaking like rattled him.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. For me, this movie, low key, if you're not careful, it will give you anxiety, because my anxiety did shoot up in the middle like of a scene, which is when, it's not a spoiler, but the radio is going off and it's getting louder and louder and louder with the communications officer, and stuff's going on. Bullets are flying. Like you hear bullet gunfire and stuff. You hear like someone screaming in pain and agony, and all those sounds are getting. He does this on purpose, and I love that he did this, but also hated it at the same time. The sounds get louder and louder and louder, and finally, like the guy just unplugs the radio, and it reduces some of the sound. But dude, If he wouldn't have done that, like I would have had a straight panic attack. Anyway, that's the type of experience you have in this movie.
It's to show that chaos, and it just
yeah,
good.
No, he did it. It was
that's
really
the
chef's kiss to that.
It's that's supposed to be the director. The director was that guy. So
talking on the mics.
So that's why his. And by the way, director Rainer Mendoza, first movie he ever did, but he was the military advisor on Civil War, by the way. So
definitely an experience and a look into how like what happens in this type of shit, you know, and it's pretty fucked up.
I just gotta credit Alex Garland, man. Just damn, how'd I ever doubt him, boys?
I think that this film, from a war film perspective, is a movie that, like we talk about the synopsis, it's talking about these soldiers and the recollection, the memories of the event. So it's based off of a true story, but it's really based off of what they remember. And so you can see in this film, compared to like other war films, like Marco, you had brought up, there was not really any music. I think you said, or maybe it was Mike. There is no music in this movie. Yeah, there's no music at all. And there's a reason. Like it's made to kind of just throw you into this skirmish that occurs suddenly and what they would have gone through. So rather than a documentary or rather than some kind of stretched out character driven war piece, it's just the moment in time with these guys. And I think this film really does a good job of portraying that. Like Mark was talking about the amping up of the chaos and the anxiety and all that. Like every single character, they're meant to kind of be like, there's some stars in here, but they're really interchangeable. Like you don't really remember everybody in here and what their role is specifically, but you can kind of see everybody's feeling. Like this person's going through this real quick, this person's going through that. Everybody's kind of working together, but at the same time having to also deal with their own stuff, throughout this, with the explosions and the shootings and like keeping clear of each other and work as a unit while also kind of discarding some of the help, the foreign help that they have over there. It's a very literal take on what they could have been experiencing at the time. And I really liked how they did that. And like to what you're saying, James, like Alex Garland's take on Civil War is kind of like that really is a precursor to what this ends up being, right? Where you get that more grounded feeling of, well, Civil War is about the photojournalists. This is just about the commanders, the military personnel that are working over there and just thrown into the situation. Like you feel like you're in the depths of this battle that they're in.
And maybe that's because Ray Mendoza was part of it too, but it really does a good job of throwing you into the middle of it all. Like Marco said, especially the scene he's talking about too is a scene that happens right after explosion goes off, and it's just utter chaos where they're bringing in two guys, and there's one of the guy's legs is just shredded beyond like belief. Really, it's just like insane that this is even like the dude's even awake at this point, and it's just they're screaming. There's guys trying to rush around. There's still bullets going off. There's explosions happening. There's like 14 different people on the radio trying to like all this chatter, and like Marco was not lying. Like if you have like anxiety, like this would definitely like trigger it, because it was even in the IMAX we're in, it was getting like insane, man.
The sound was everything in this film for sure. Like it really adds on that. And let's talk about a little bit more on just the plot, any specifics. I know we've talked about some specific generalization of some scenes, but let's talk more about like that scene you're talking about, James, that stood out where the explosion happens and like the chaos comes out. What did that bring out for you for this film? Did it work? I mean,
you get to like kind of a vibe of like what everyone's role is to the point. By the way, I did not know that was Michael Gandolfini. He's in the Daredevil. Right?
He is. I crack up every time he shows up in Daredevil. I crack the hell up, dude.
Really?
Because he's kind of slow in that show.
He just reminds me of his dad.
Is my friend. Yeah. It's just really, because right off the bat, there's that scene where like they throw the grenade in, and from that point forward, that movie's like intense level goes to like a 10.
Yeah, it doesn't stop after that.
Dude, it's like nonstop. And it's really cool that they do it in real time, because there's a lot of scenes you see in the film that you probably wouldn't see in a normal movie. Like where the guy's like, you got to get my bag. And then like, there's like a 3.5 minute scene where he's trying to find his bag from. And I was like, all right.
It adds that realism with that.
It does. I kept forgetting that they were like, I'm like, all right, these guys are SEALs. You guys are pretty badass, right? For the most part. But dude, when they go out and that explosion, the IED goes off, dude, I swear to God, I felt heat come off the damn screen. Like, how realistic, dude, I was getting flashbacks. I don't even know what's going on. I was just Call of Duty or something. I was just like this. I was like, Mikey, where the fuck are we?
I had to lose
cigarette in the theater. I was just like trying to light up. I was like, help me out, man. Mikey
He looks over, Mikey.
Shirt off. Mikey's shirt off. He said, "Where's my clothes?" He said, "Where's my clothes?" And I was like, "We're getting kicked out." So
no, the weird thing is like you almost know something is going to happen in that scene, but you don't know what.
Yeah,
and it still surprises
you're like,
you. It's still
you're like looking at your watch. You're like, "Oh, it's only like 25 minutes in the film. There's like no way this is ending now, right? Like, are they just going to get on and go, like, all right, they made it, I guess."
The build up to it is what's great. Is you see these guys being close and be put in the situation that they're not in charge of, and they're
like, okay, we got to get out of here. And the guy's like, well, we have a delay. And he's like, what?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, it was I gasped when the grenade came out because it was like something was going to happen and suddenly the grenade pops. I was like, oh no.
They both said, my word.
It's happening.
How did they not die from that?
I know. I was surprised. I mean, I guess they got out quick enough because that whole room, some of them were injured, but
just knowing my slow reaction, I'd be like, well, this is it. This is how it happens, I guess. Damn.
Well, it did take the one captain out of the game. Like, he was shell shocked from it for sure. Like,
he got a concussion, I think, right?
Yeah, I think he had a concussion.
He had a concussion, and it also because
he's complaining about it early on, especially when they hit off the claymores. I think it just triggered it.
Yeah,
and then the show of
IED made it
power when they have the plane come by, like messes them up even more.
The scene where he just goes up to that sergeant and he tells him, "Hey, I'm not okay. I'm not good. You got to take over."
I actually like that.
I felt that, dude. Like, it was that was filmed, and his performance leading up to that, like, everything is built up in this and leading up to something, and everything like means something. And like that scene, damn. Like, you just kind of really feel it when he passes on the torch.
Marco just was like, "It's Adam Warlock." I was like, "Stop making Marvel references." He's like, "Yo, man, the Human Torch ain't looking good right now, man."
Just say flame on. Just say flame on.
You'll kill yourself. It's the way it happens.
And meanwhile, Vecna's there, and it's like, dude, come on, dude, do something.
No, but honestly though, Will Poulter, like, I always, like, in my head, I only see him as the meme where he's like, "You guys got paid?" Right, that meme that he has like the fourth box,
Jennifer Aniston movie.
So I always see him as that, and then obviously he's in this movie, and it's nothing like that at all. And he did actually. He was one of my favorite characters. He just really did.
Maze Runner for me.
Maze Runner.
But yeah, he did a great job in this one here. So.
But he knows, like Marco said, though, they do a good job. There's like the really subtle things where it's like you're seeing him, like, he's not all there. He's got the ears ringing, especially after the explosion. He's like totally out of it, times 10 to him. And then he's just like, he can't even communicate. He doesn't even know what's going on.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think really stands out with where it was saying with the characters, where you have a couple of names on here, but they're really kind of meant to just be a part of the ensemble rather than a star that comes out of here. And like Will Poulter definitely is a good example of that. Even like we were talking about Michael Gandolfini's character, Lieutenant McDonald, where he's kind of like not sure what to do because he's a new guy. I mean, he at one point injects himself incorrectly with the morphine on his thumb, and he's like,
I was fucking dying, dude.
I was like, dang. And red means don't, dude.
Yeah.
Thinking of him in Daredevil and just merging both those freaking characters, I was dying when he did that. I was like, you fucking.
That's why he's so out of it near the end, though. He's like, I'm high as hell right now, dude.
I mean, as soon as the grenade comes in, his face changes. Like, he's scared. Yeah. You can tell.
Yeah.
And it's very visible, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. Really, the one who stood out, like, really a lot was the guy playing Ray Mendoza.
He was good.
He really stood out because he really kept his composure. He got not one, but two of his freaking homies the fuck out of there when they were all freaking blown to bits. And he's like the only one like taking care of the communications and trying to figure out what the hell's going on with their air support and everything. Like,
yeah,
I felt like he really like, I mean, they all stood out, but I mean, he really was like, for me, like the main like focus, because he was the one with the most composure, in my opinion.
He was still, even though for him, even he was a little bit shocked out of things.
Oh yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Just stand there and,
I mean, I think that's when the IED does hit. That's everybody, right? Like they all kind of just like, holy crap, what just happened? Like ears are ringing. I mean, you go and see in the shot where everything's a bit hazy and blurry. Like you don't know what's really going on around them and how quickly it took for them to snap out of it to try to
It's that
jumping
scene
and
with
get out of it.
Joseph Quinn where he wakes up and he just sees his legs like mangled, man. He just starts screaming.
Just starts screaming. Yeah.
And it's just like horrifying. It's like, oh my God, dude. Like, and he's on fire for God's sakes, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then Elliot is the sniper guy. And I assumed he was dead.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
also,
for sure.
most badass character to me in that whole.
Time. Dude. Ray's bringing him back and his leg is so torn that it gets stuck around the corner of a porch, dude. I'm like, oh my God, man. Like it's,
I know we physically haven't said it yet, but yeah, this is not like a movie you want to like eat a hearty meal before or eat during the meal. Like,
me and Mikey had a drink before it. I ain't gonna lie, man. I had a margarita and I was like, oh man, I'm not feeling good, Mikey. Once again, but then I noticed, Mikey, where's your shoes? What happened to your shoes, Mikey? I was looking around, looking like Saving Private Ryan out there. My friend's shoes are gone. Hello. So I was like, can you guys shut up?
Again, I actually think that like a hard drink would actually help calm the nerves, because if it weren't for the drink I had, you know,
it made me nervous.
It would have made me more nervous without it.
Well, what else were we talked a little bit about the sound, but what about the look of the film, the aesthetic there? How did you guys feel that was coming off here?
It's really cool that I don't know if you guys saw any behind the scenes. They recreated this entire street that's on. Like that's all a set.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Kind of amazing if you think about it. I was like, oh my God, man. Like straight up. Because it's not a very it's a $20 million film, but in Hollywood standards, that's still fairly lower budget.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming Alex Garland he's got like a look to his films. I think you guys can agree with me on that. And this just kind of continues that look, and I was like, man, it just works, man.
I like how the scenes switch between the action and then they have the thermal camera. And there's like no sound or nothing else other than just like the radio comms. I was probably from playing too much Call of Duty, but I thought that was.
I was thinking, no, don't worry. I was seeing the same thing, and I was like, this is just like God.
Yeah, and it's not just like to look cool. It's obviously to add to the realism, but then like you start to see like the bodies and stuff, like everyone moving, converging, and everything. And it adds to the intensity of everything.
Such a cool scene where you see the second squad trying to get over to him, and you just see them like stop, and they're just taking dudes down. But you hear the radio chatter the whole time, which is really cool. It's because they're basically like, yeah, we're trying to make it to you guys. It's like it's insane. They're all over the roofs, and then you visually see it. It's like, oh my God, man. So.
And how many there are too.
And how many, and also like how surrounded they are. Like you don't realize that it's like 360 around the house until you see those kind of scenes.
Well, I think the worst part of it all too is like this is where you see the realism in it, because they're at the beginning of the film, they're scoping the area and they can kind of see things amplify slowly, where they're like, okay, these people are going in, and then these people are going out. And like they're just
the writing's on the wall. They're like, this is not a good place. We need to get out of here. They're just a sniper team that is backing up another group and then they're like, we're done. Right. And they're like, we're already heading out. He's like, well, shit, we're still here, man. Like, what about us?
We can't get out.
Yeah. And it's like, well, a guy just went in and now they come back out with like automatic rifles and stuff. Like, uh-oh.
And what about the ending itself? Like, I don't know if there's too much really to spoil here. But as a general sense, like, did you like how it was portrayed, how they ended up really escaping the area, or however many did, or, were you expecting something else from this, or something more spectacular?
I think it's on purpose, though. It's to show you that the war has no end, right? It's just a very like bleak ending. Like, this is it. It's like I said, it's a very hollow movie, and it's trying to show you how hollow that war is. It's just like, this is it. There's nothing else. We're not trying to say anything else about this.
For me,
it's a story.
Showcase that war is just fucking terrible. Like it just is. Like it, for all sides, it's just fucking horrible. And it sucks. Like I know those brave men and women are there to do the ultimate sacrifice and everything, but they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. Like they shouldn't have been there. It's like it fucking sucks that they are and that they had to go through that shit. And it's like
really horrifying shit. So
yeah,
for me, the like I don't want to say the more powerful, but a really like good aspect of that ending is like when the family finally realizes like that no one's in their house anymore, and they're like kind of walking out, and then like you just see all the gunmen are just like kind of coming out of the woodworks and just kind of gathering up in the middle, and it's like, wow, you see how many there are, and it's just kind of eye-opening, like just how the whole thing kind of ended.
And the fact that you realize that they were as ugly as it was what happened, and everything, they're just trying to defend their town. That's crazy. Yeah. It just, again, it just shows the ugliness of fucking war, like it's fucking sucks.
I mean, was I expecting them to show something intense and do an airstrike as soon as everybody left? I was like, I hope to God they don't do that, because that's going to.
I was like, oh, man.
Hey, we've done a few bad things in Iraq, guys.
Yeah.
People have gone through some stuff. But yeah, I completely agree with you all. Like this, not just like the portrayal at the end of how it just kind of continued on and they just had to get out of there and things would never really change as far as their situation. But these soldiers are Navy SEALs and they're young, and look how impacted they are. Like there's a lot going on all at once. And we talked about the anxiety, but like, just think about how old they probably were. Like some of these were probably early 20s, maybe even a couple teens in there, and being at the top of their game, militarily speaking, at least, and still having to try to work through everything to get out and not just survive themselves, but the people around them to get them out. That takes a lot. And it makes sense. Like when they show some of the behind the scenes a little bit after when the credits start rolling and showing what some of the original soldiers that were there and helping making this film. Like you could see that they're in good spirits, but man, you have to think that they really were like messed up coming out of this situation, and like how they have to live with that for the rest of their lives at such a young age for something that probably wasn't necessarily warranted to begin with.
Yeah.
So like that portrayal in itself, I think that's what really lifted up the film, was like these characters are really showing, though they may be the top of their class as far as the military is concerned and like what their roles are, they're still just kids trying to navigate this and try to get out alive and do the mission and get back home safe.
No, it shows, but it also shows, like Marco said, in a bad position, but they did their best that they could.
Yep.
And that's really what kind of the movie, I think, is kind of getting across. Like,
exactly,
this is a shitty situation, but this is what they did to make it through to the next day, right? So, and yeah, it's interesting. Like, I can't believe Elliot survived.
Yeah,
100%. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. I was like, "There's no way, man." And then they show him at the end. I'm like, "Dude, he's super like survived." Like, yeah, I get it. He paralyzed or they amputated his legs, but like, you saw the legs. There was no doubt.
That wasn't coming back. Yeah.
Him and Sam probably, right? Yeah, it's wild. Only Ray and Elliot are the only two that like reveal their identities. Everyone else is blurred because they didn't reveal their identities, because some of these people might still be looking for these people. So
yeah, some of them might be working as mercenaries or working as military police or something,
or higher ups too. Me and Mike were talking about it. There's a number of things. So
all right, let's talk about the rating of the film. I'm going to start with you, Marco. What did you give this film, and would you recommend watching this?
I give this one 3.5 stars, and I would recommend this one. I still hold Civil War higher than this one, but I think the way this one is filmed, the way it just immerses you into it, I think it's worth like the experience, and also just seeing the situations that happen within this film.
All right, how about you, James?
I would give this one 4 stars. I think this is one of my top films I've seen so far this year.
Mikey?
I gave it 4 stars as well. It's definitely not a movie. I know there was some controversy, and we kind of spoken on it already, but I just want to mention it again. Is like war movies. This is not like giving it a good name, right? So it's more impactful than that. And I definitely recommend this if you're okay with some gore and some action, some military stuff. It's definitely a great movie to watch.
Yeah, I also gave this 4 stars, and I agree that the film, it isn't your traditional war film. I think this really is a grounded story and respects the soldiers that were on the ground over there and their memories on it, and it's worth seeing something like this come on screen.
All right, thank you, Nabil. That's the end of the podcast. We appreciate every one of you guys for tuning in and listening to us. Marco, actually, sorry, it's been weird because Mike has been doing this for the last couple episodes. Marco, let them know how they can reach us.
You can listen and follow us on your preferred podcast platform. We are everywhere. For a convenient link to all our social media channels, visit linktree/moviepalspod. That's linktr.ee/moviepalspod. And remember, smash that subscribe button, and you'll never miss an episode in this marathon or the next.
Anyways, catch us on TikTok for sneak peeks of upcoming episodes and more exciting movie content. Follow us at Movie Pals Pod.
Make sure to tune in for our next episode, podcast episode number 197, where we will be doing a double feature of The Accountant and The Accountant 2.
Thank you, Nabil. Until then, this is James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
Have a great one.